Now, I remember when the original Conjuring came out. I reviewed it on this channel in 2013, and then I reviewed it again for a Halloween special. Like, I love that original movie, and arguably the second one is better than the original. Like, those first two are awesome. But who would have thought in 2013 we would have got 10 plus spin-off Conjuring movies, and now here we are at the end of phase 1, because apparently we're Marvel. The Conjuring Last Rites star Vera, Farmiga, and Patrick Wilson is about paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on one last terrifying case involving mysterious entities they must confront. Now, before getting started this review, I apologize how I sound. I'm just getting off a cold, so sorry if I sound a little stuffy. But this is from director Michael Chaves, sorry if I said his last name wrong, who previously directed the last Conjuring movie, The Nun 2, and La Llorona. We're talking the brand new horror film, The Conjuring Last Rites. Now, like I said in the beginning, I'm a huge fan of the original Conjuring and The Conjuring 2. Conjuring 3 is very forgettable, honestly. Like, the last time I watched that movie was in theaters, and I barely remember anything from that movie. I should probably give it a rewatch, but those original 2 movies, I watch any Halloween season. I love them. I love James Wan particularly. When I found out the same director from the last Conjuring was coming back to do this one, I wasn't excited, and all the trailers and marketing for this movie have not won me over. The only thing I will say is that apparently this is Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga's last time playing Ed and Lorraine Warren in these movies, and that alone was like, alright, like, I want to see their last movie. And then they said, oh yeah, this is just the end of phase 1 of the Conjuring universe because these movies make money. We got phase 2 coming up for you guys because we're Marvel, apparently. So, again, I have my expectations very lowered going into this movie theater. Now, of course, we'll start with the positives, and of course, it's Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. They have been here since 2013, and every single time they pop up in a Conjuring movie or a spin-off movie, they are the best parts. They are very good as the Warrens. And I know some people have a few controversial topics about how the Warrens are portrayed in real life and how the movies are portrayed. Listen, the movies themselves, these 2 actors are giving it their all, and for their last hurrah, it was honestly sweet. And I know that's kind of weird to say for a horror movie review. As a big horror fan, this movie was really sweet. It was a good farewell. The movie has a lot of focus on them as a family, the daughter growing up and seeing how they are not retired yet from these cases, but they are trying to move on. The movie does a good enough job giving our characters a good goodbye. Like, the final 5 minutes of this movie, I'm like, aw, like, I'm gonna miss these people. I kind of grew up with these movies, basically, so it's cool to see their good farewell. And I think the movie did a good enough job to give them a farewell tour in this movie, so I will give them that. Also, the movie's look is very well done. I think the coloring, the cinematography, the 1986 look and production value, it's all very well done. Like, it's a $55 million Warner Brothers distributed movie. Like, you're gonna have a good-looking movie, and they should, for the most part. Again, CGI. But I will say, looking at this movie's very easy to watch. And as a horror fan, you're gonna say you've seen this movie 100 times, and it's 100% true coming as a horror fan. But for, like, general audiences, you can watch this movie and be entertained. There's a good bit of scares, not a ton, but there's enough to where people, like, might get scared in this movie. Like, my mom came with me to see this movie. She jumped in this movie. I didn't jump at all, but, like, she's general audiences, I would say, and she said, oh, there were some good scary moments, and for me as a horror fan that's seen thousands of horror movies, this movie's I've seen it before 100 times. And unfortunately, this is where I get into more of my negatives. I think the biggest issue I have for our farewell tour of this movie, it's really not scary. The trailer that I saw in theaters, that trailer shows some of the biggest scares in this movie. There is one shot with shadowing in a person's eyes. I was like, that's a creepy image. Good job, movie. That was it. That was the only thrilling moment because The director of this movie, Michael Chaves, which again, I'm sorry for saying his last name wrong, all of his movies, he distributes really nice looking movies, but none of his movies have creativity. And it might be the studio system, but La Llorona, The Nun 2, the last Conjuring movie, and this one, all well produced, all well shot. But there's nothing in this movie that makes me tell you, go spend your money. I have seen 3 horror movies I can name right now I've seen this year that are so creative, so different, so pushing the boundary that it's so good. And I feel like what we're, as horror fans, we're eating so good that we're getting so many horror movies, such original content and creative ideas that nowadays when you produce a movie like this, you've seen this movie 100 times, and there's nothing in this movie as a horror fan that made me jump, that made me enthralled. I was honestly bored through most of this movie because mainly when I'm watching this movie, I like that the Warrens get their family dynamic, but I don't like that we spend so much time with this family dynamic that the case of this movie, I mean, I didn't give a fuck about this family. I'm like, yeah, you're in a haunted house. There's a haunted mirror. Leave. But like this whole time, they don't give any development. In those first 2 Conjuring movies, you care about the families. They give you character development. There is none of that in this movie. And that's a huge shame when it comes to the scary part of this movie. It's not scary. Now again, I will say this. General audiences will go see this movie and they might be terrified. But this is coming from someone who has seen amazing horror films this year. I mean, Warner Brothers just distributed Sinners, a horror movie that felt different, that felt like it was going out there, trying to tell a story. This movie is once again a movie that you see the Warrens go into a house and they have to help these family get a demon out of their house. You've seen it done before, and you've seen it done way better. The direction of this movie, like, I don't want to just blame the director, but his previous work and this movie just continues to prove there's nothing in his creative direction that makes me enthralled to see his horror movies. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's the studio. I hope they are just controlling him. But hey, man, he makes good-looking movies. He gets good performances. It's a movie that is watchable. But holy shit, is it forgettable. I mean, again, for the last Warren movie, it was a good farewell. I'll give it that. But besides that, it's not scary. I wasn't enthralled. I wasn't into the story. This is a movie that feels super basic. It's not a bad movie. It's just super duper basic. I'm going to give The Conjuring Last Rites a C-. Now, I've already given my grade. I'm not going to say any major spoilers, but I have to say one thing. There is a scene with Annabelle in this movie. One of the stupidest scenes in the entire Conjuring franchise. Seriously. I understand Annabelle is like your moneymaker, but like, there was no reason for the Annabelle doll, character, whatever, to be in this movie. And there's one scene that is just random as fuck, is never explained, and never resolves. I'm like, why did you do that? And then I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Annabelle, money. I understand, the Annabelle doll is creepy, but what they do in this movie, that is one of the stupidest scenes ever in the Conjuring franchise. I hated that scene. And when by the end of the movie, I was like, what the fuck? What was the point in that scene? They never resolve this Annabelle issue. Again, once you see it, you'll totally know what I'm saying. But yeah, this is a whimper of a movie. It really is. Again, as a horror fan, I'd like to see someone who isn't like a diehard horror fan go see this movie. Cause like my mom jumped in this movie. She was like, ooh, there was a few scary parts. So I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm a guy who watches thousands of horror movies, and this was like nothing. This was a piece of cake. I'm going to forget about this movie tomorrow. So, and you guys enjoy this movie review. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.